Oh, just a quick one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the C Morning Show. It's 10 to 8 in the a.m. and time for one of our favorite segments, which is Book Talk. So, first up, Marissa.
Yes.
You're always reading at least one or two books at any given time. What are you currently into?
I'm currently into this, actually. I read this about 8 years ago, but I'm rereading it again.
Okay.
This is by the psychotherapist, the UK psychotherapist, Filosofi. I think this is her first book, if I'm not mistaken, How to Stay Sane. So with How to Stay Sane, basically there are 3 things that she discussed, which are self-observation or knowing yourself, and then how you relate to others and how you see stress. So
Okay, very relevant, I would suppose, in today's
and it's
world.
super thin.
Yeah,
right? It's super
probably
thin.
get through that by lunch.
Exactly. And what about you?
I recently just got this from our lovely colleague, Shafira. She gave me a birthday present, and this is Magic. This is the story of Magic Johnson, legendary basketball player.
Wow.
Very well known, actually, with his for his battle against HIV.
Yes.
But not many know about what happened afterwards, which is he built this huge business empire.
Yes,
he really uplifted black communities across America by doing so. He created black-owned businesses in black neighborhoods because there was a market there that was untapped, and he was able to provide better lives for those within the community. So I saw a 3-episode documentary on Apple TV. They Call Me Magic.
Right.
And then the timing was perfect. After I finished that, I got this little lovely birthday present. So I just started it. And so can't wait to get into that.
Yes, and also, of course, it's like before we go to our guest recommendation, we would like to discuss this wonderful book, again by Henry Manampiring. I know Henry Manampiring for a long time, actually the first time through Twitter, but then...
Before it was X.
That was a long time ago, now X. Now this is his latest book, and the previous book was Filosofi. Another interesting philosophical take. So welcome to our studio, Henry.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Paul. Good morning, Paul.
Good
Marissa.
morning. So the compass.
Yeah.
What do you want to discuss in the compass?
I mean, as the title implies, right? What do you use the compass for, right? It's usually to find your bearing, to know where to go next. So that's somehow how I envision this book to be. It's supposed to help readers to make decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, in everyday decision, how to make better decision that help builds their character.
Right. So if in Filosofi you focus on Stoicism,
Correct.
this time in the compass you focus on Arete.
Yeah.
What is Arete?
So arete is a Greek word, and usually it translates to English as virtue, right? Everybody has heard of the word virtue.
Yes.
But the thing about the word virtue is you associate it with, a virtuous person means someone who is doing good stuff.
Good.
Yes.
Right? But unfortunately, it doesn't capture the complete meaning of arete in its Greek form. Because arete is better translated into excellence. Excellence.
That's also broad, right?
Yeah.
Excellence is like...
Broad and also different from just being a good person. And I think it's just interesting because for the ancient Greek, it's more than just striving to be a good person. You want to strive to become an excellent person. Now, excellent is also broad. And hence, the 4 dimension or the 4 cardinal virtues or arete that is depicted on the cover.
Okay,
Right.
yeah. Could you actually break them down? Because there are 4 very important parts of this particular philosophy.
Yeah. So, these 4 ladies represent what is called as the cardinal virtues or the cardinal arete.
Right.
So what the philosopher is trying to say is, if you want to become an excellent person, try to become better in these 4 dimensions. Those 4 are wisdom.
This one, wisdom.
Yeah? The green one is wisdom. The second one is courage. The third one is justice, become a just person. And the last one is moderation or self-temperance.
Self-temperance.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, and by the way, gonna give there's illustrations in there, not only in the cover but inside. Would you like to mention who,
Oh yeah, yeah.
who created these lovely illustrations?
I love it because it's so Indonesian as well.
Yes. So I'm very happy that the publisher found a great illustrator who lives in Bantul, Yogyakarta. His name is Ajon Anggoro.
Yes.
You gotta check him out. He's a comic artist, and the reason I've just fell in love when I saw his sample of illustration is it reminds me of my childhood comic book.
Yes.
Very retro comic book, and I thought when I saw it, I want him. He has to do the illustration for my book.
Yeah, despite, we're talking about Greek philosophy, but of course we have to Indonesianize it, right?
That's right.
Now, I want you to now translate all these four cardinals or the principles in Arete, right? So you mentioned wisdom, courage, justice, and also temperance. So break it down for us. What would be like the concrete situation and the concrete actions where we can apply all these four principles? First, probably wisdom. Let's imagine a situation, and then how do we apply wisdom for us to be able to reach Arete?
So, interestingly, these four cannot be seen in isolation.
Yes,
so it's
it has
not like
to be the four of them.
Correct, it has to be applied together. But naturally, there will be situations where it calls for one or two arete more than the other, right?
Yes.
So it can be as simple as some speaking out.
Speaking out.
Speaking out in a situation you want to call out something that is wrong, right? So you may lack confidence, like I'm too afraid to speak up, right? This is not my culture. But at the same time, the wisdom will say, somebody has to speak out, right? To point out that, hey, there's a wrongdoing here.
Right.
Then you get courage, right? But at the same time, when you deliver it, you want to restrain yourself. You want to respect the other people, because it's very easy for you to, go overboard.
Lash
and
out.
then yelling, lashing out. So that violates temperance, but at the same time, justice. Because justice is the only arete that relates to other people's rights. So you respect the other people's rights. So you see, a simple situation can call on these four to make better decision, how to behave.
And how will applying this four, because you relate this to ultimately happiness.
Correct. Yeah.
So how would you apply this on a day-to-day basis?
How do you train yourself, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we humans, we're so reactive sometimes.
And it takes a lot of discipline to actually think about this in every situation. Sometimes when you feel like speaking out, you speak out, and then later on you'll retrospectively think,
You'll regret it.
probably should have held back a little bit there, right? And how will this help us ultimately achieve like better happiness? And could you explain, first of all, what happiness is? Because you had a great explanation for it earlier.
Yeah, so as I studied more on the subject, right, when I was writing this book, I was pretty mind blown when I learned that all this time, what I understand as happiness was wrong.
Okay.
What was your previous understanding?
I thought happiness is, I have to feel happy, I have to feel joy, cheerful, smiling all day, The common conception of happy. And then turn out, the ancient wise men have a completely different understanding of happiness. And again, it goes back to the root word. So happiness for the ancient Greek, they use the word eudaimonia. And very interesting, eudaimonia doesn't mean feeling. Eudaimonia actually means a good spirit.
A good spirit.
Yeah, so someone with a good quality. And then it just changed my my perception, because if you pursue happiness as feeling happy, there are many things you can do to achieve that. And not all of them are good, right? Not all of them are good for you. I mean,
all kinds of addiction, probably can reach. You can reach happiness, but it's an addiction. I can enjoy junk food. It gives me a boost of happiness, but is it good for me, right? I can do all other negative stuff that temporarily makes me happy, but may not be good for me in the long run. So they say that's not happiness. Happiness is build your character. Happiness is build your character. What do you mean by that?
Have an excellent character.
Right.
Which leads to eudaimonia. Build character means also a good spirit. And then that's it. So the happiness is a byproduct. So I like the fitness analogy, right? Between weight loss and being fit. Sometimes people go after the ideal weight.
Like I want to look good.
But that's probably not the right pursuit. You should pursue health first. Right? And then the ideal weight comes as a byproduct.
That's correct.
You Three of us know this more than.
Yeah, and I completely understand, because my understanding of fitness was like your previous understanding of happiness, where I was constantly trying to make sure I look the best in the mirror, and then I'm at that ideal weight, and then I do my body composition. I'm like, all the numbers are fine,
Okay.
but then it didn't necessarily prevent me from certain illnesses, or it didn't prevent me from having, say, high cholesterol. But then when I decided to go for my overall health, which is the target of long-lasting life. Like, how am I going to prolong my life so I can live longer for my family, for those that I love around me?
Yeah.
And then suddenly, I felt better on the inside, and I started to look better without me trying so hard to look better. That was the byproduct, if you will.
Yeah, that's correct. So I guess through this book, we could start changing or shifting our understanding of happiness, that happiness is not a goal, but it is actually a byproduct or a bonus, because we've done a lot of the actions and steps, the right action or the right steps, so that we, in the end, as a result, feel happy, right?
Can I add one more thing? I believe that you'll only start knowing how that feels once you start doing it.
Correct.
Because if somebody was just telling me, I'd say, I don't get it. But then once I started doing it, I started like, oh, this was what it's supposed to be like.
So let's talk about training then.
Yes.
How does one train to do all this and really incorporate these principles into their lives or our lives? Hello.
It's it's almost like the question, how can I run the marathon?
Right? Yeah, you need training, right?
The only answer is you gotta run. And then gradually,
a little bit at a time.
Yeah. So there is no magic answer to that. I think a lot of people who read self-improvement wants the shortcut.
Right.
Yes.
Give me the shortcut. Life hack.
Like, once I finish this, I'm immediately going to be a happy. I'm going to be a great character already.
Bad news to those people out there. There is no hack. There is no shortcut. And leads me back to the word character, actually. I mean, I mentioned character in the beginning, right? So character in English actually comes from the Greek word also, karasein. And very interesting, because karasein means carving or engraving. And it gives you a clue immediately to how you build a good character. Painting is one stroke, right? But engraving, carving takes several acts. So that means you gotta do it consistently. You gotta do it in repetition, in every day. There is no shortcut. There is no overnight hack like that.
So what do you personally do, Henry, to make sure that you apply all this? Like, for example, right? What I do, not exactly relating to the philosophy of Arete yet, but for example, I used to be relatively reactive, right? You know, there is no gap between impulse, between provocation and reaction, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But then what I started doing is that I started meditating. You see, it's something, what is the action that we can do to start building the muscles so we can implement the philosophy of Arete in our lives in the hope that we will feel contented or happy or fulfilled, you know.
So Aristotle, whose work this book is based upon, considered wisdom as the leading Arete. So he said that everything starts from wisdom. And in everyday practical manner, I think wisdom is to have self-debate.
Self-debate?
Yeah, so you refer to meditation. For me, it's self-debate.
Nice.
We don't practice self-debate often. Okay?
What do you mean by self-debate?
You question yourself.
Right.
Argue
Right?
with you.
Yeah.
If you feel something, you argue it.
Yeah. So usually you feel reactive, right? I mean, somebody cross you on the street and then you feel anger.
Road rage.
Or just people talk to you not in a right manner, you feel upset. That's exactly the time to give a pause and then debate yourself. Have that 5-10 second moment to question yourself.
What do you say to yourself when you debate yourself?
So, do you have enough evidence to feel this way? Is there a different explanation to this person's behavior? Is there just another way to look at it? Just giving that pause kind of stop your train of thought before go overboard and then you get dragged into your emotion. At least you have that self-dialogue. It may or may not help you, but at least give you time to calm down a little bit.
If you don't want to get angry after that, then it's more justified. I want to touch on a couple of things that within the book itself. You you interviewed several people.
Oh, yeah,
They
yeah.
were actually quite inspirational figures. One of them was a friend of the station here as well, Psycho G, Igor, Adi Sarwono, as well as Sabda PS. Why did you choose them in particular to be included in your book?
So I think philosophy is already a difficult matter to talk about.
Okay.
So I want to make it less theoretical and then kind of link it to everyday Indonesian, you know. Real stories to help ground the thinking. And I pick interesting figures that I thought can exemplify the concept of this Arete. Like I interviewed Psycho G because I noticed on his social media that he's now very serious in transforming his lifestyle to become healthier.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that can illustrate moderation or self-temperance, right? And true enough, when I talked to him, he has great insight about overeating, right? So apparently he found that overeating is very psychological. It's not so much about the hunger or physical hunger. It's about emotional emptiness and, right? So you take care of that, and then the body will respond accordingly.
Okay.
So I guess in the basic, or would you agree or disagree, the foundation that one must have in order to implement these principles is self-knowledge first. Because in the case of Psycho G, for example, you know, it's like the fact that he used to be obese and he knew that he was unhealthy. And then instead of just saying, oh, you know, I like having good food, he actually took the time to self-debate, to ask himself, like, what is it going on, Psycho G, inside? Is it because you have some kind of emptiness that you're trying to fill? You feel good whenever you eat, but actually the problem is still there?
Yeah.
So self-knowledge would be the foundation for someone to be able to successfully apply these principles.
Hence wisdom.
Hence wisdom.
Wisdom is not about knowing so many things in this life, knowing the latest theory.
Right.
Wisdom, first and foremost, should be directed towards yourself. So, have you ever heard of the oracle? The concept of oracle
Oh, what's that?
in the ancient Greek? So, oracle is like a temple that people come to find, you know, what's my future like?
Oh,
you know?
right,
It's like the
right,
matrix.
right.
It's almost
Yeah,
like
yeah,
exactly. That's where it comes from, right? So oracle there is a temple of the oracle, and at the top of the entrance there's a two-word saying, "Know thyself."
Know thyself.
That's it. That's the oracle motto.
Yeah.
First,
That was Socrates,
know yourself.
right?
Correct, and then it was popularized by
Yes.
Socrates. So.
Know thyself. Know thyself.
All right. So I would like to know if this is completely, fully attainable. Like, we talk about happiness as no longer a feeling anymore, but it's something that is becoming this character that you strive to become.
Yeah.
And you have to do so over repetition. And in the word arete itself, you describe as excellence. And excellence is somewhat close to perfection. And we know that perfection is
Ooh,
unattainable.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, throughout writing this book and your journey learning all of this, is this something that is attainable for everyone, or those that at least try their best to attain it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you refer to attainable as a fixed state, right, that somebody has to attain, I don't think that's the case.
Okay.
I mean, like, can I run full marathon, for example, 20 kilometers? It won't be attainable for all people, let's admit it, right?
Yeah.
But if you refer to it as process, is the process attainable, the continuous improvement? Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone is welcome to this journey. And I don't think there is a finish line until you die, until you die.
Yeah.
So every day, little progress you make, that's enough. That's enough, yeah.
All right. And I suppose I mean, you just get better at it. Like, you no longer have to meditate to get yourself through those situations
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah,
because you already know how to reach that state.
Because I do a lot of self-debate now.
There you go.
I question myself. Every time I feel something, I'm like, where does this feeling come from? Do you think it's because of A, B, or C? And I don't have to make the decision. Sometimes I'll just let it be.
Yeah.
Less pressure.
Perfect.
But we would like to hear your book recommendation,
Yes, we
Henry.
had a book
Sorry, I
recommendation.
shocked you just there by saying that.
Book recommendation,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I'd like to know what you're reading. That's for sure.
I've seen this one, yeah.
I finished this already
Exciting.
last year. Range by David Epstein. Yeah, how generalists triumph in a specialized world.
Okay.
So it has a very interesting premise.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us were brought up thinking that, oh, you gotta stick to one.
You gotta be a doctor or a lawyer.
Yeah, yes. Stick to one skill. Put the hours.
Yes.
Make sure that you are good at something more than anyone else.
Well, Malcolm Gladwell popularized that idea, 10,000 hours,
10,000
right?
hour, right.
Woo, people went crazy for it.
You put in 10,000 hours into something and you become master at it.
Yeah.
Now there is nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
But it's not the only way to be successful. And even Epstein argued that in this increasingly complex and interconnected life,
Yes.
it's the generalists who have the upper hand. Because the world is changing so fast, and we connect in different diverse of discipline and skill connect so fast that people who are stuck in his only field of expertise
Yes.
may not be flexible enough to adapt or to evolve.
May face irrelevance as
Yeah.
well, right?
So actually, he introduced the concept of it's good to be broad. The jack of all trades, master of none,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Yes.
It is usually said.
In a negative
That's
way.
such
In a
a bad
negative
rap,
way,
right?
right?
Yeah.
But no, actually, you may need to be Jack
Or Jane.
or Jane. Have a go at many things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fail at different things because together it gives you the agility. So like you, Marisa, I mean, you are former actress or you are still acting, I don't know, but you are actress, and you are
Yeah.
anchor, you are former DJ.
Yeah.
Maybe
Still DJing.
those things, still DJing.
Yeah.
So those things may not be related to what you are currently doing at the
Yeah,
moment,
yeah.
but actually they are helping.
Yes.
They are really complementary.
Yeah, yeah.
So very recommended for parents, especially for parents. If you
Yes.
have your kid, expose your child
To as much
to
as
as
possible.
many things, and then later he can specialize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let them decide.
Let them decide, but expose them first to many diverse things. Very good for teacher
Yes.
and educator as well, and hopefully for policymaker.
Yes.
Somebody
There
in
you
the
go.
government may need to read this as well.
Thank you so much,
That is a great
Range.
recommendation. I'm going to take a picture
Fantastic.
of it.
I will too. There you go. Oh my gosh.
Henry, thank you so much. That was
Thank you.
I
So
can't wait
great.
to get to this, obviously, after I get through this giant one first. But there you go, guys. Available now in bookstores?
Yeah, yeah.
Compass, Filosofi, Arete, untuk Bahagia, Sejati, Henry, Manampiring. Make sure you guys look out for this one.
Yes, exactly. Will there be an English version as well real soon?
I haven't decided.
You haven't
so.
decided. All right, there you go. You would have to learn Indonesian, by the way, to get access to this book. Thank you so much, Henry.
Thank you, Marisa.
Success
Thank
to
you, Paul.
And also, we are going for a short break. When we come back, we'll still have lots more for you. Wow, what an insightful talk show. Thank you so much, Henry.